India at the first Confederation of India Industry, the Women in STEM Summit, July 2022. Her work has been recognized by the Office of the Principal Scientific Advisor, Government of India and British High Commission. Professor Rakhi is also the recipient of prestigious Professor Y.S. Murthy Gold Medal 2011 of India Botanical Society. Along with this, Newton Baba Leading Women Scientist Award in Crop and Agricultural Sciences 2016 instituted jointly by DBT India and Cambridge University UK, and Professor F.C. Stewart Memorial Award 2021 of Plant Tissue Culture Association for her work in teaching and research. It's an honor for us to have you, ma'am, here. Now I would like to request Professor Rakhi to please take forward the panel discussion.
What I say is a lecture, but definitely you will enjoy the session. And first and foremost, let me invite the panel members here. We have with us Dr. Prakash Kumar from National University of Singapore. He is joining us over the virtually. He is there, and you can see him on the screen. The next is Dr. Jyoti Sharma from Daffodil Nursery, Jati Road. I invite him here. He is present in person. Yeah. The next panel member is Mr. Mariadan Pathok from Nectar NECTAR. So he is also joining us in person. The third member is Mr. Prem Kumar Visnagar. He is an IITG alumni. He is also joining us virtually. And Dr. Prakash and Mr. Prem Kumar will be sharing the screen with us. And the last but not the least, the youngest in the panel member is Mr. Surya Prakash Bhatthakur. He is a IIT Guwahati alumni. Smartness is when you have the infrastructure available. So the smartness here is the sustainability of the agriculture throughout the year, as well as the tracking, the monitoring with all aspects, including the environment. So this is the smart farming is a sustainable farming which is helping us to ensure that the use of the land is taken care of, and also for tracking and monitoring and automation and analyzing the operations. It is also helping us to capture the data and interpreting them using computational technologies and to make them operational throughout the year. In fact, in some of the smart the automation technology, it is also helping us to predict some of the data, including the diseases, because mostly in the environment the diseases are the microbial origin and they are mutated, and some predictions can also be done. So we will discuss all aspects, and most importantly, seeing the youngsters are here, the students are here from the college, and our IITG students are too joining here. So it would be helpful for us to understand about, if we take up this as a profession, agriculture is a profession with smartness into it and with automation into it, that would be very, very useful for the Indian perspective, which is the agri-based country, and will help us to have a higher side of the production, and then even can help us to utilize the unutilized land for the agriculture purpose. So where we are, where we have to move, where the world is. So this panel discussion will help us. So first and foremost, I would like to invite upon Dr. Prakash Kumar from National University of Singapore, and you know the NUS is the ranked 1 institution, and Dr. Prakash Kumar is a very well known and professor in the area of plant biology. He is actually of his entire education happened in India, and later on he moved to University of Calgary to have the PhD degree. And later on, after completing the PhD, he joined National University of Singapore, and currently he is a professor over there. Interestingly, he is also the founder director of the Research Center for Sustainable Urban Farming at NUS. He has trained several PhD and the master students, and several of his scientific findings have been published in the peer-reviewed national, international journals. He is the editorial member of several renowned the journals. He was also, his expertise is hormonal regulation of plant development, and currently he is involved in some of the projects, including the molecular regulation of plant serenity and the major rice research program. Also, he was involved, and he is the person who knows. Whom almost the entire plant biotechnologists know, and I keep a very high regard for him. He is a very senior professor, and I get a lot of tips from him how to take up the profession, the plant biotechnology, in a more practical way. So I request Dr. Prakash Kumar to say about his own experience or observation of smart agriculture. And since the young audience is there, so if you can tell us overall about the agriculture, smart agriculture, that would be very helpful to take the panel discussion forward. May I request? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see some more audience members coming in. So, since the time has moved on, so what I'll do is I'll start sharing my slides. Okay. Are you able to see the slides?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, perfect. So, somehow I can't go into the full screen mode. I think this will still work. So or maybe I should.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So what I thought I will do is in the topic of sustainable food production in the face of climate change, what I thought I will do is take these three major areas for to identify topics for discussion in the panel, right? So before I go into the 3 points, I would first like to thank the organizers for inviting me to participate in this. Right? It would have been fantastic if the time permitted for personal enjoyment. I have a trip to the US coming up in 3 days' time, so I couldn't travel anyway. So the topics then again, the need for urban farming in the face of climate change. Okay, so that's the first one. The second is that very briefly I'll touch on the concept of urban farming. And the third is that what kind of changes and tech solutions, like Prof. Rakhi was mentioning, for students when they say, oh, you need AI, well, what kind of AI? What do you need? So this is going to give you a few ideas to start thinking about. Obviously, we're not going to constrain you for this, right? This is just to get you started. Okay, what kind of tech solutions might be beneficial for urban farming? That's the idea. Okay, so we all know, we've been told so many times by now, we know that the world's population is going to expand to more than 9 billion, 9.5, 9.75. Different models will give you different population size, right? But then what we need to remember is that we have to produce increasing amounts of food for this. And again, the often quoted number is 70% more food by the year 2050. Compared to what? The time scale that you have to remember is that the comparison was based on what was being produced at 2010, right? So not 70% more from now, but 70% more compared to what was produced during 2010. Okay, And climate change is another major thing that you see, and it's not just increased temperature or flooding or drought, various such as fire. Those are things. There are also biotic problems that come. For example, pests like this you see here, the locust crisis in the year 2021. It's not like too long ago, right? You would still remember this. So the point is that all these are going to cause decrease in food production, right? So you need to increase that. So we know this for sure. So people have started doing analyses and do what? So doubling of food production, 70% to double, right? 100%. That's what people keep talking about. This is a major challenge. What are some of the specific steps that need to be taken? Deforestation-free supply chain, right? You should avoid deforestation. We have already cut down too much of the forest. And grow more in the current farms in a sustainable intensification method using that kind of ideas, right? And reduce the negative environmental impacts from farming. So these are some of the aspects. Obviously there are a lot more, but the global food security will depend on such actions, right? Now, where are we coming from? Singapore is a really, really tiny country. And by that, the east-west is only about 40 kilometers. North-south is about 22, 24 kilometers. That's it. That is a country, city-state, right? So where are we in terms of food? We import pretty much everything we consume, right? So, more than 90% of the food consumed. So can tiny Singapore be a significant player in food production? That's the first question that we have to ask, right? But we would like to be a little bit more self-sufficient. That's the idea. So when we start examining the situation, who are the top food exporters in the world right now? The number one position is the USA. And number two, surprise, surprise, is the Netherlands. The Netherlands compared to the US, which is 9.8 million kilometers square, about 3 times the area of India, right? Compared to that, the land area of Netherlands is only about 41,000 kilometers square, and we're even tiny, 720 kilometers square. Okay, so how did a relatively small country like the Netherlands become the world's second largest food exporter after the USA? Well, innovation, right? They put in strategic investments and came up with excellent technological investments, technological innovations, including the robots for harvesting, sorting of potatoes, etc. Now look, Singapore doesn't intend to be a food exporter, right? But what we want to do is a lot more modest objectives. We would like to be able to produce 30% of Singapore's nutritional needs to be produced locally by the year 2030. So we call it 30 by 30 goal. Okay, so is this possible? Okay, we examine quite a lot of potential, approaches to do this. Well, urban farming is a possibility, right? Because it's a land scarce city-state. We said that traditional farming is out. And in the urban farming, there are multiple methods. I'll be highlighting that in the next one or two. Indoor farming with multi-tier growth racks is a possibility, right? So what are the different methods of urban farming? You can grow plants in vacant plots, community gardens, small front and backyards if you have those, if you're living in high-rise, along the corridors and terraces, rooftops of different buildings, all these are, but these can only give you a little bit more, not at scale. So what is doable? Indoor farms with intensive cultivation routes and halls like that, multi-tier growth racks, they are a possibility. They are something more, at scale production. These are some of the first generation farms, like on rooftops, put up farms, right? But then the more recent ones started coming up with the really multi-tier. This is about 9 meters tall, right? Racks growing strawberries, right? So you can see they have sophisticated control panels. So you'll start thinking about technological innovations, right? So these are computer-controlled irrigation, and they'll control the temperature of the hall, control the lighting, etc., right? So these are all the tech challenges, solutions that are needed. So the point is that in a given land area, if you have 16 tiers of it or more, you can right away calculate, right? So you are multiplying the amount of food that you can produce by 16 times, right? So this is the kind of things that you need to do. No, it's not just an innovation that we've come up with. Obviously, United States started looking at it, but since they have huge farms, they're still not looking at this multi-tier growth. But they have these big, large greenhouses producing harvest. This is called app harvest. They were listed in the stock market and they were up at $13 a share. But now, today I checked, it's only 50 cents. What happened is that they're using quite a lot of precision farming techniques, including recycled rainwater, hybrid lighting, AI for machine learning, automation, robotic harvesting, etc., right? But then they started with really superstar kind of people, scientists there. So the cost became too high, so the profit margin has gone down. Anyway, there are several advantages in indoor farming. Space saving is one, multi-level growth racks is the other. It increases food output by multiple folds per unit area. You know what I mean, right? 1 acre, you can produce a certain amount. So now if you have 1 acre floor area multiplied by 10 tiers, so that's equivalent to 10 acres of produce that you can produce theoretically, right? Now, it is a controlled environment, so it's not affected by the external environment. So climate change is not going to affect it directly, right? Because you have LED lights, nutrient solutions, there's no deforestation, there'll be minimal pests. It's almost equivalent to the organic food. In terms of quality, uses a lot less, only about 10% of the water used for traditional agriculture is needed in here because you can recycle the wastewater. You can monitor this by technology, sensors, wearable sensors, something like what we wear, right? So these are wearable sensors. So you can develop sensors for attaching to plants. Indeed, we are involved in a project developing this kind of thing, sensors here. I'll give an example soon. I'm only going to take a few more minutes. Okay, so there are certain disadvantages as well, such as what? You need appropriate varieties. What's wrong with the correct varieties? All these varieties have been selected for growing in outdoor big farms. Now you move them indoors, you need them to be dwarf, you need them to produce more branches, and the productivity, yield, etc., quality of life may affect. So you need to select and develop varieties for it. That's one of the technological solutions, right? So, but for that you need plant breeders, biologists. But then there's energy input. This is really high cost in countries like Singapore. Again, electricity for lighting, cooling, fertigation, which is applying fertilizer, right? And then it can alter the taste profile, the flavor of the plants. Of course, people have worked out certain mathematical energy needed for growing strawberries, etc. I'm not going to bore you with it, but the point is that these are certain disadvantages. What does that mean? A light should light up in your brain now. These are areas open for innovation, technological solutions to reduce the energy input, right? So what will it take for vertical farms to thrive, indoor vertical farms? Okay, you need to expand beyond. Currently what people are doing is leafy vegetables. One of the reasons why that is being grown is because almost the entire plant you produce is consumed, right? Whereas for example, rice, which you can't do in an indoor mill farm, but in rice and corn, for example, about 50% of the biomass is straw that is not consumed by us. It's used for, say, bioethanol production, etc. But then, in an indoor farm, if you grow such crops, you're going to lose a lot, because half of what you grow is thrown away. So then microgreens, okay, that's not the bulk of the staple food, but these are specialty foods, high value-added crops and perishables, those that are year-round demand, etc., the species that one should. Then you have to come up with the AI and tech solutions, right? Automation in the urban farms, for example, watering, and planting, harvesting, etc. These are the things. So one of the innovations that is coming out of an NUS startup company, they're called PolyD, right? So basically what they're doing is that it's a company started, they're exploring the use of tiny little drones to go and buzz air near the flowers in a plant to facilitate pollination, because you guessed it, right? Indoor farm, there are no bees or butterflies or insects coming in, so you need to facilitate pollination. So these are some of the tech solutions being attempted. Okay, so what are other areas? Reduce energy consumption, enhance recycling, develop smart sensors and use AI to monitor crops, develop suitable varieties. I've already mentioned this. So what is the idea of sensors? Another minute or so, right? So all these sensors can be attached to plants and you can monitor their growth, optimize the conditions. You can then bring in the machine learning concept to say that, okay, for this particular crop in this area, these are the best light wavelengths, the number of hours of light needed, the temperature, environment temperature, and the pH of the nutrients, etc. You get the idea now, right? So you get big data, big amount of data on all these. We currently don't have those. And what do you need for that? You need sensors. This is what I mean by sensors. This was a publication that came in 2021, not our work. Someone else published it. I'm just listing to show you what we mean by these sensors. So these are any sensors, right? You can attach them to plants. This is a stylized diagram of the watermelon plant, right? So there's a watermelon, and this is the root part down here, and above there is the rest of the branches. Now, by attaching 3 different sensors in these 3 areas, I don't know if the pointer is visible in the screen. If not, I'm talking about the bottom.
It's visible.
Okay, good. So, the really, really interesting thing that they discovered was during the daytime when photosynthesis is active, the bulk of the water, like more than 85% of water will go to that part, right? And at night when photosynthesis is 0, right? So the bulk of the water goes into the fruit. So this is the kind of information that could be gained by attaching these sensors. Otherwise, we didn't know this, right? So more interestingly, when you harvest the fruit, you cut off that, right? So it cuts off water supply down there. So the plant is really, really good. They have sensors in it. But what we need is electronic sensors that we can attach to them to determine growth, stress levels, all these infection, water stress, temperature stress, etc. All the plants start reacting to it. By then it's rather too late, right? So these sensors will help us to alert the grower, for example, who can monitor it, right, through computer system. If we have the right sensors, you can help to monitor this at the very, very beginning of the stress, so when it's not become damaging to the plant yet. So you see the importance of such sensors, right? So anyway, so in one of the projects I'm involved in, we are developing some of these sensors that you can attach here, right? So the idea is that we can collect data for optimizing the growth, right? So these are aspects we need to do. So just a take-home message from me now. Indoor urban farming can contribute to sustainable food production. And by this, what we need are the multi-tier growth rooms, big halls. So you can have big buildings built, right? Multi-levels. And these are production facilities, right? You don't have open big farms. Now these will have high productivity per unit area. These are suitable for growing crops in big cities in large countries, right? Besides the small countries that are city-states like Singapore, right? So big cities in large countries like India, China, right? So China also is exploring this technology in a big way, right? So you can increase their own food production in the right location, so that cuts down transportation costs, so carbon economy, right? So high frequency fresh produce will be locally made and available, right? So the supply chain disruption, such as what we saw in the last 2 years ago with the pandemic, right? And this is resource saving, so it's environmental sustainability factor coming in again. So less environmental degradation in the long run, right? At the moment, it's energy intensive, so we need to innovate. Tech innovations, variety improvement, etc. So hopefully this gives you a framework to start thinking about and for discussing further in the panel discussion. So let me stop sharing now and end my brief presentation.
The nursery in 1992 from a very small scale structure. Even days are there when we are not even earning 50 rupees a day. We have started from that level, and we are just waiting for someone will come and some flowers will be sold out from that level actually. So it's a very small scale. And in 92, when I have completed my masters, I was joined as an assistant teacher in Memoria College, and I was paid only 500 rupees. So to run my family, my father was a headmaster after his retirement. He was unable even to run the family because he is getting only 2,000 rupees as pension. At that time the salary was also very low, and we were 6 numbers, brother and sister. So after passing, high responsibility fall on me. So I just transferred his hobby. Actually, he was a very pet lover, my father, and I have just learned the hobby of developing plants in pots, small pots, and I have started that hobby. And gradually 1-2 people start coming, and I am just selling 1, 2, 3 pots in a day. And when I sold that time 2-3 pots at a night table, dinner table, we discussed that we have sold 3 pots today. It is a very good sale during 92-93. And doing in a constant way, today we are in a position, we have around 40 to 50 lakhs plant in our stock. And today we are selling every day 50,000 plant in the market, every day. 365 days in the year, and 365 days we are selling 50,000 plants. And that too not only in the neighboring nurseries. Now people are start coming from last year from your Philippines. We are having an order of 15 lakhs agar plant just to send to Philippines. In Sandrup Jangar, the neighboring country Bhutan, their king's birthday was observed in 20th February, and we have sent around 30 trucks of flowering plant to observe his birthday. And King of Bhutan have a photo in the midst of our flower, and he sent me a WhatsApp message that I am in the midst of daffodil from Sandrup Jangar. So it's growing like that way. And Bangladesh, we are sending regularly. Then Myanmar also, they are coming, and we are learning from them also. China, Thailand, and now sir is there in Singapore. They are far ahead of us. But still, Northeast, we are also not, I think, much behind, because we are richer in our biodiversity. And I have a special request for the newcomers and the students. We should always see the bright side, not the dark side. We should not see what we don't have. We should always see what we have. If we see what we have, then we can acquire what we don't have. What I have learned from my own personal life. Actually, days were there when my father was very sick. I took him to AIMS and I was sleeping in the veranda of a room. I'm taking a small room. I just give a small your bed for my father and I'm sleeping outside of the bed, outside of the room. So now doing all these things, looking all the positive sides, now we have around 300 staff and more than 20 staff from my college. My students after passing, they have joined me and they are helping me running the business. And my wife, she was also a college teacher. She was working in Dimoria College, and in 2003 she has resigned from her job and she is looking the nursery. That's why I can come out. Otherwise, it's very difficult. It is dry. There is no rain since last many days. We have lost more than 10 lakhs rupees worth plant during this 10-15 days time. So it is that hard time. How we have started the journey, you can see in 1982 my father was starting this as a hobby and I have already told, so I will not make it long. So in 92 I have already told we are selling around 96 around 200 rupees a day, and now every day we are selling around 6 to 7 lakhs in any way every day. So these are the turning points. In 2002, IFED, this is a project, International Fund for Agriculture Development. They have ordered some plants worth 50 to 60 lakhs. That was the highest, your biggest order during that time. And from that, every day we are doing this type of things. And landscaping also we are engaging in that. Rajiv Sokit is no more there in Jalukbari. Then National Games Field, 2006-2007, Guwahati High Court, Chief Justice Bangalore, these are some landscaping work. Pasigat Airport, Imami Limited there in Posoria, Royal Global School, Guwahati University, Cotton University, and even Guwahati IIT also is maintained by our workers. 2/3 of the whole campus is maintained by our staff. And we are supplying nursery materials to all of our northeastern states, other states like West Bengal. Sikkim is a major buyer. Every year they are buying around 5-6 crores worth of planting materials from us. And Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, this year, few days back, we have sent 50,000 bamboo sapling to Hyderabad. Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. They are coming and they are buying. And other countries like Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Myanmar, they are already, I have told you. And how to get market. Actually, I have never explored market. I never go out for marketing. The people, they are coming and they are buying. Because we are maintaining good quality. The price also matters. We are giving in a very reasonable price. And we have around 4,000 varieties of plants. So we never said, no, we don't have this plant. So when people are coming to buy plant, yes, we have that plant. So that is and you will be happy to hear that we are among the top 10 nurseries in India who have maximum number of varieties. So 4,000 varieties in a single go is very difficult to maintain. Still we are maintaining this. And product lines, these are the product line. I will not go details because I think time will not allow now. So achievements, these are some of the achievements already Madam has told my personnel, and in the nursery field we are getting a grant of around 25 lakhs and that was declared as one of the best performer in 2012, and these are the degree our Honorable Chancellor and VC of Agriculture University. And socio-economic responsibility, I am helping the poor students even in our college, horticulture college. We are having only 30 students, and you will be happy to hear that out of 35 are learning in free. They are not paying, and because they are from the poor background, and the college is not for the higher section of the people, because they are not interested in learning agriculture and horticulture. And poor student, even a girl from Kerala, she is learning free in my college. So, and horticulture is also one of the business where we can collect the rich man money to the poor people, because rich men never go for plowing, they never go for your in the field in the sun, full sun. So this can be a way where we can earn some money reverse actually, not to the Adani Ambani, but from Adani Ambani to our poor people. So this is during COVID relief time. We are helping around 5,000 villagers, giving various, and this is the Chief Minister program where we are donating. From the COVID period, only agriculture and horticulture shows 4 to 5% profit. No other business, even medicine also go down during that time. So agriculture and horticulture during that time shows 4 to 5% above the normal profit line. And I was also an example. That time in other time we are selling around 25 to 30 crores in a year, but during COVID we are selling 35 to 40 crores. So it was much ahead. And this is in the newspaper Sentinel. And infrastructure, during that time we have around 50 bighas, now it is around 70 bighas of total area. And we have separate mother plant block. We have around 4,000 square meter of greenhouse, and shade house around 3,000 square meter. And we have a well furnished showroom. We have some staff accommodation, guest house, farmer training hall, and we have a proposed tissue culture lab also. We will request ma'am to help us in developing this laboratory. And we are establishing a agriculture and horticulture college. So in India there are lot of horticulture and agriculture college, but our agriculture and horticulture college is by a simple man, not by an industrialist, who is running a nursery and having a horticulture college. This is the only example in India. So our esteemed clients already we have discount. So these are the main things. And we have adopted a village. You will be happy to hear that the villagers, before they are engaged in making wines, and their average life was around 40 to 45. Mainly the men, not the women. Women are around 70, 80 like that. But men, they are surviving only 45 to 50 years. Because the woman, after making the wine, coming to the nearest market for selling this, and she is engaged in selling. But the man, he stay in the home with the kids and drinking whole the days. So his life is only 45 to 50. So during during 2012, our then CM Turun Gogoi sir visit my place, and I request him to do something for this. And he asked me that you do. I will not do for this, because government is always encouraging selling wines for revenue. So I think that what to do. So I just engage the people to making plants. I have visited their house and see that they have beautiful your orchard of betel nut. So instead of selling the betel nut as betel nut in the market, I just train them to grow the betel nut in packet. If they sell the betel nut in the market, they will during that time they are getting 50 paisa for one betel nut. So I just train them to grow the betel nut in the packet, and they are, after growing the betel nut, they are getting 5, 6 to 10 rupees from one betel nut. So their income was more than double, triple. So now they are growing betel nut, then your coconut in their house, and they are giving it to me. So that way also they are earning. You can see this is a model horticulture nursery by a widow. Her husband has already passed out and she is growing. You can see the betel nut there, and she is growing the betel nut and she is giving it to me. Suppose if she has 20,000 betel nut, she will get only 10,000 rupees if she sell it as betel nut. But when she is growing this betel nut to plant, she is getting 5 rupees minimum. So from 10,000 she is getting 50,000. From 20,000 she is getting 1 lakh. So I now need not request them to grow betel nut. They are automatically growing and they are giving it to me. And you will be happy to hear in 2008 I was buying a Honda City car just by making profit, 1 rupee profit from betel nut. I have sold 11 trucks betel nut to Meghalaya government, and from that profit I am buying a Honda City in 2008, and that was 78 number Honda City. A man who does not know to ride your Vespa during that time, Vespa bike, so owned a Honda City car in 2002. And in 2015, just by selling 46 lakhs number of your ilachi, means cardamom, to neighboring state, I bought a Audi car in 2015. And recently, just by selling another item to Bhutan government, I bought a A4 car Audi. So this is through horticulture only. So these are some other aspects which we can do it along with your nursery. This is again lawn farming, carpet grass. In a paddy field, suppose it covers 1 bigha of land. 1 bigha of land means 14,400 square feet area. So in 14,400 square feet area, just by doing your rice or other wheat, we can earn maximum 20 to 30,000 rupees, not more than that. But if we are doing carpet grass in 14,400 square feet area, we can do twice in a year. Means if it is 10 rupees a square feet, it is around 1,44,000 in once, and in 2 go it may be 2,88,000. So there are people, now we have developed some village where you can have around 20-30 trucks of carpet grass in a single day in neighboring village. So these are some landscaping work, rooftop gardening. Sir has already told that vertical gardening. These are the things we can do, but for this requires lot of infrastructure and lot of money. This is not a poor man business, because we are not able to supply fertilizer in our field in the time. We are not able to do proper irrigation. So if government assists, or if some major project going on, then only this will be possible. But again, in this case, the business will go from poor man to rich man. So this negative impact also we have to take care of.
If you are born in Assam, then you have an inherent responsibility towards the state, like Sir is doing, and most of the businessmen, most of the researchers, they are always looking back, going ahead, going back to their roots and starting things. So that is how I was motivated. Even my parents, they were like, even though they are doctors, they were slightly oriented towards tea. They always wanted to see. My mom grew a lot of tea plants in our ancestral place. My father, he had made teas. So that is how I started this interest grew in me that I should go do something in the tea industry. But then, as an electrical engineer, I had to inject some sort of technology into tea. It was not right for me to go and disrupt the cottage industry and say that I am also making handmade tea. That is not the right thing to do as an engineer. So what I wanted to do was inject some technology, identify the areas. So that is how we grew. That is how my research started, and that is how my company also started. Thank you. So little bit of what I have done. When I started, it was an R&D company, Guwahati. So we are studying the landscape of tea manufacturing. So tea is not something new. We have probably had 2 cups of tea since morning, and tea in Assam has been going on since the last 200 years. In fact, 2023 is the 200th year, and the state government is also celebrating that milestone. And the thing about tea is it's an industry. It's a beautiful industry. It is employing more than 5-7 lakh people daily. But the thing is, since the last 120 years, since the advent of technology, tea, the fresh tea leaves, they have been dried. That is what you consume. That is being manufactured using coal and gas. So my team and I, we identified that thing should not exist, and that we should move away from coal and gas, because it should be sustainable, because tea is it's a plant product, so it has to be sustainable, and then using coal and gas is not right. So we went ahead and then started our research in that area. And then a bit of research, what we did was, we first identified how to dry the tea. So we studied the characteristic of the tea leaves drying, the moisture removal, and then we studied how it affects the tea. Then after a bit of research, we got a grant from one of the PSUs to make our prototype into a larger scale. Then we also made a larger scale prototype, and now we are currently using it in our factory. So it uses electricity, no coal and no gas is being used. Also, to give you a perspective of where science and technology can be used, in the true aspect of smart agriculture. So in China, for a long time it is being known that when you are manufacturing tea, so at every stage of manufacturing, the heat applied should be reduced. But there is no documentation of how much heat you should reduce. Is it 1 degree? Is it 5 degrees? There is no documentation. So there we have tea experts, tea masters who make the tea. Even in Assam we have tea masters. They have their traditional know-how. They bring in the traditional know-how, and then they make the tea. There are some experts who make very good tea. There are some experts who make tea. And so this is where I think smart agriculture comes in. This is where I think you all can contribute. Is identifying with science and technology, identifying or in fact quantifying the things. For example, in tea manufacturing, the moisture content in the leaf is very important. But there is no exact way of quantifying how much moisture is there in the tea leaves at real time. So that is one area where you can do your research. And then to give you an example, what tea masters do is they roll the leaf in the palm of their hand, and if it does not feel very watery and if it feels gummy, then they say that okay, it is ready for manufacturing. So this is one place I think where technology can come in, and people can with the help of technology correctly identify the parameters, so that manufacturing becomes more streamlined and it becomes more consistent. Because right now there is a seasonal variation throughout the year, and then the tea leaves, they have different amount of moisture. So we need systems, smart systems, technologically driven systems that can identify that in August we have this much amount of moisture in the tea, so your manufacturing should be tuned to this parameters. So these are the things that as researchers we can work on. Another thing is we are working in the field, and it's not possible for you to come to the field and then understand everything. So sir is here with more than 40 years of experience. So for him to start a research facility is difficult. For him to identify pain points is easy, because he's been working in this industry. So he'll be able to give you the pain points. Like if you ask him, sir, where can I innovate? What are the problems you're facing? Then he will say probably this kind of plant requires more light, less heat. Light is not heat, I hope you know. So he might be saying that this plant requires more light, less heat. Then it is up to you to innovate how for this plant you can get more light and less heat. So these are the things that as researchers you can communicate with the industry people and then find out. Because 30 years experience, if you go out and collect 30 years experience, it's impossible, right? You're doing your PhD, you need to complete it by 5-6 years. So you need to communicate with people who are already in the field, and then find the pain points and then put your brains into it and come up with solutions. From my personal experience working in the sector of food processing, yes, there are many challenges which I have observed and have come across on a day-to-day basis. Number one is that there is a lack of proper hand-holding support. I mean, there are people who have the expertise, there are people who have the willingness and the desire to move ahead in the food processing sector, but ultimately they do not have the proper hand-holding support. They do not know where to go. What are the regulatory requirements that are needed? What are the safety requirements that are needed? That is one of the major challenges. Number two is that we also have a lack of proper understanding of the situation. Because when you see, especially in Northeastern region, I'll tell you, like through experience, there's a government agency, I must say a department, who have understood that maybe there's a production of spices in one area, and we thought that these people are doing the manual, this open sun drying. So we thought that maybe we'll take it forward and bring the dryer, the installation of a dryer at that place. Everything is done, dryers has been installed, but unfortunately there's no electricity in that area. So see, the example is that we do not have a proper understanding of the situation. Third is the marketing and packaging issues. When you develop a product, the packaging material is itself a reflection of how you present your product to the market. Now, most of us here, we do not have that sense of proper packaging. Take a look when you go to, I think some of you have been to Meghalaya, you've been to Cherrapunji, and when traveling along the road, you see people selling honey. Now, they're selling honey not in proper glass bottles, but they're selling honey in alcohol bottles. Now, that is the case that that we have experienced, and it is real. That is what we have come across. So people do not have the proper sense of packaging. Now you can also see, for example, in places such as in Manipur, they have these cow sheds, and where they're taking in milk and they're selling milk and they're producing ghee as well. Now they are also selling ghee in bottles. Now fortunately it's not alcohol bottles this time, but they're selling ghee also in Bonvita bottles, plastic bottles. Now instead of Bonvita, it becomes Bonghita, something like that. So we don't have that proper sense of proper packaging and marketing, whereby the product that we package and we present to the market is still a reflection of your product. Another one is the Northeastern region is the terrain. Terrain is very difficult, and through experiences few weeks ago, I went to my colleague from Itanagar. We went to a district in Kamle, a place which is known as Raga. So while proceeding ahead towards Raga, we observed that there's a lot of cardamom. You can see beautiful cardamom plantation. And then you wonder why, why is the cardamom is here, but why is the cardamom, the packaged product, is not selling inside, going to the market? Now the terrain is also one thing, because I can remember that while traveling from Itanagar, after reaching Jiro, then we went to Raga. There's a Arunachal is a hilly terrain, and we were traveling. It started raining. Then, as the vehicle was moving, then the mud and the sand and everything started falling on the roof of the vehicle. When you look at the other side, there's a deep rift. All you can do is just keep quiet, so that you come back alive. So me and my colleague, we were there. We were just keeping quiet inside the vehicle, like nothing happened. And then when we crossed the road, when we reached a safe spot, we were in a good mood, and we were saying that, oh, we're still alive. Oh, nothing happened. We were not scared, but in reality, we were very scared. So another thing is that challenge is the hilly and the difficult terrain in the Northeastern region. Now, one more thing is that the volume. Now, we may not say that volume is an issue. Volume exists, but it's just that there is no proper formalization of the units or the proper formalization of the network. I think some of you must have heard about Lakadong turmeric in Meghalaya, which is quite famous for its curcumin content. Now, when you go to Janki Hills, a district which is producing Lakadong turmeric, you find many players are there. So this is also manufacturing nugget turmeric. He's also manufacturing nugget turmeric. He also nugget turmeric under different brands. Now, when a buyer comes from outside, he's coming to you and he's saying that I need 100 metric tons of nugget turmeric. Now, when he goes to this person, we say I can supply to you only 2 metric tons. This person 2 metric tons, and so on. That is the problem with the issue. So instead of having different people manufacturing the same product, I'm not saying it's a unique product. This is the same product. Instead of a proper branding, common branding marketing, we have different many players. So that is also where it's hampering the supply chain. Now, lastly, what we have come across through experience, also I'm telling you, sometimes these beneficiaries who are availing the support systems or the schemes of the government, they are very smart. Sorry, they're not smart, but they are over smart to tell you. You cannot even imagine how smart they are. Just an example, I'll tell you a story. In northeastern region, piggery is one of the most profitable, not most, but a profitable business, especially in the rural areas where it brings in revenue to the household and the village. Now there are government departments that are giving support for piggery. So the support is not only for animal feed or anything, but it's also for construction of a pig shed. Now, some people have availed this assistance, and as a normal government procedure, after the release of installment, they go for inspection, and if everything is fine, they release the second installment, and so on. Now, it happened in one place, in one of the village, where after the government officials they went for inspection, they asked this person, where is that pig shed that you have constructed with the money that we have given you? Then he said, okay, I'm taking you to that pig shed. And then when they went to that place, they found that an RCC building has been constructed. And now the people say that you cannot do this because this is meant for pig shed. You cannot do this, so we'll stop the installment. So they went back. And then after maybe a week or two, this person again, he went to the office. He said that, no, I've rectified my problem. I apologize and I request you to come again for inspection so that we can release the second and third installment. So fine, they agreed. They went and to a surprise, they find that the RCC structure is still there, but the pig shed has been constructed at the terrace. So you see, I'm telling you, some beneficiaries are not only smart, but they're also very smart, over smart, I'm telling you. So these are some of the challenges that I'm telling you from experience that we have encountered on a real-time basis. Now speaking about the entrepreneurship development, yes, I think when talking about smart agriculture, a few years ago, the government has launched one program, which is the NEGPA, or the National E-Governance Plan in Agriculture, where the target is, it was conducted initially on a pilot scale for 7 states, and Assam happened to be one of the states in the country who have been fortunate enough to have this pilot, and the only state in the northeastern region. Understanding the situation of how they had gone forward. So eventually in 2014-15, it was elaborated throughout the country. So the entire country was having this experience, and they were fortunate enough to have this NEGPA scheme or the support program. Now the activities or the components under this NEGPA was mostly on artificial intelligence, robotics, drones, and so on. So these are aimed at smart agriculture, because we know smart agriculture is about application of drones, application of sensors, information and communication technology, and so on. So now what you can think about now is that I think you have, after hearing from the young entrepreneur, Mr. Prakash, and also Dr. Sarma here, when you were telling them about the Audi and the Honda, many of them were nodding their heads. Like, I'll go back and I'll get Audi or Honda. Now I'll tell you one thing is that, yes, Professor Rakhi has also been telling to understand your passion. Passion is very important. Now when you understand your passion, I want you, after you have really understood your passion, now you can go back and look at the different schemes that are available for funding. You can have a look at the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, or the AIF, the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Now under AIF, which is planned mostly for post-harvest management, which we have cold chain and logistics and so on, there's also a component on the smart agriculture, not only smart agriculture, but I would say smart and precision agriculture. There's a component under AIF, which is not only smart agriculture, but smart and precision agriculture. anyone can be smart, but we also have to be precise. So that's why this component is smart and precision agriculture. Now this scheme is designed in such a way that it is not a grant, but is rather an interest subvention loan of 3%, where you can take a loan up to 2 crores, and the interest subvention, the support for you would be up to the rate of 3% per annum for 7 years. This is the AIF, which is not being taken care of from our department or from our office. But what I would like to tell you now, the support or the stress more, in fact, to have more interaction with you, is the support system or the scheme that is available from our office. Our office, like Professor Rakhi said, is Northeast Center for Technology, Application and Reach. Now we are under Department of Science and Technology. We have our mandate is to ensure the development of the Northeastern region, to ensure economic development through these livelihood generation programs. If you are interested, if you have a unique project proposal in mind, you can visit our website www.nectar.org.in. I'll just repeat again, www.nectar.org.in. Now when you look at our website, you can view our website and see the schemes that are available. One particular scheme that I would like to share with you today is the TOSS, or the Technology Oriented Service Scheme. Now, the scheme that is offered by our department, I must say, is rather simple than what is being offered by other government agencies or other government departments. If you look at schemes such as IITG, PMFME, and so on, MITH, you need to prepare a DPR, which is very much detailed, and I'm telling you that it's very much needed. But when you look at the website of Nectar, our office, we only have a simple project proposal submission format. The format is already there. It is simple. You need not fill your detailed project report. It's just a simple proposal where after you have submitted the proposal, the screening committee will analyze or examine your project proposal and further pass it on to the expert committee, where you will have to be giving a presentation in front of the committee. Now, you may be interested to know who can apply. I'm telling you, any legal entity can apply. Okay, why legal entity? It's not that a common person just randomly can just go and submit a project proposal and get the funding. It is not like that, because we also have to be sure we are using public money. After all, we have to be authentic. We have to be authentic, and we have to be, in our judgment, we have to be really, really thorough with our judgment. So that's why you have to be a legal entity, because it may happen that a common person coming to apply for funding, he may just apply for funding and then disappear after getting the installment. But he needs to be a legal entity. It can be MSME. You can be MSME, or you can be under a cooperative society or SSG, FPO, FPC, you name it, but it has to be a legal entity. So one thing is that, and secondly, the pattern of funding, we always release an installment basis, 40, 20%. Okay, it is not like that you submit a project proposal to us, and as soon as your project is approved, we give you the 100%. No, it's not like that. We give 40, 20%. After each and every inspection, we release the installment. Now, up to what limit can apply? The funding limit or the quantum, there's no minimum limit, but on the upper hand limit, the funding pattern is up to 25 lakhs. So you're getting, it's not a loan, you're not getting a subsidy, but you're getting a grant. So that's why the limit for project cost is up to 25 lakhs. You're getting it as a grant. Don't get confused. It does not mean that 25 lakhs will give it to you and you have to pay back to us. It does not mean like that. The grant is yours, but utilize it properly. So, and what are the activities that are being supported by us, that are being eligible activities that you can apply for funding? You can apply for funding in the field of post-harvest management, communications department, livelihood generation programs, anything that can. And one thing I'll tell you that when you submit a project proposal, you have to keep in mind that it has to be beneficial not only for you. It is not only, for example, me, I'm applying for a project proposal, I'm getting the funding and that will benefit me. No, it is not like that, but actually it is how we give the funding to you and how you give employment or livelihood generation to the community around. I think that is what is also most important. So these are the important aspects where you can apply for funding from our from our office. You can explore possibility also from Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Likewise, if you are interested in food processing, you can go for PMFD scheme, you can go for PMEGP scheme, you can go for MITH scheme. There are different schemes that are available, and I'm telling you also through experience that we advertise from my previous offices, especially we advertise on a regular basis that there are schemes that are available for funding. Now, as a common person, he'll just see the newspaper, he'll just look, he'll just go through, but it's not eye appealing. He does not remember the advertisement. So my appeal to you is that also, do not always depend on people who will come to you. Rather, you should go and look out for them as well. You have the mobile with you, you have the laptops with you, you have internet with you. Spend some time scrolling or finding the support mechanisms that are available for you. And also to conclude, especially for entrepreneurship development, I would like to highlight a book that was written by the co-founder of Paper. It's called 0 to 1. And he spoke about certain components having the right issues at the right time. Number one is that when you start your entrepreneurship development program, you need to have the right timing. Now, right timing is very important because, see, it does not mean that now I want to start entrepreneurship development and so I will manufacture a black and white mobile phone while the world around you has evolved into a smartphone. So having the right timing is very important. Secondly is the right team. It happens that, while starting a business, we may not be in a capability to do everything on our own. We need to have a team. And I'm telling you, you need to really choose your team members of whom you want to partner with, whom you want to associate with. Most of the businesses also fail. Why? Because they have chosen the wrong partner. They have chosen a partner just because, oh, he's my friend, so he'll be a partner, he'll be my partner, we'll do the business together. But ultimately, this person will say that, oh, you do the work, I'll just sit back. You do this, I'll just sit back. So we have to struggle with work. That's why right team is very important. Third thing is about marketing. Now you have the product, you have the market, but how do you bridge in the gap between the supply and the demand? Marketing is also one important thing, which I've also told you about the importance of packaging and marketing. Now, another thing is the distribution logistics. For example, you may have a good ginger in Karbi Anglong, but your hometown is in Dibrugarh. So you say that I'll set up a processing unit for ginger in Dibrugarh. So it does not make sense. Although it can happen, but in viability, you have to think about viability. Bringing in the raw material from Karbi Anglong to Dibrugarh, process it there and then sell it back. Instead of setting up a processing unit in Dibrugarh, why not have the processing unit at the place where there is production like Karbi Anglong? That is a logistics issue. Now, sustainability question. You also need to question on your sustainability. It's just that you are manufacturing ginger powder, I'm supplying ginger powder, and so I'm happy with it, and I'll stick to this for the years to come. No, it does not mean that. So you have to sustain in life, you have to evolve with the changing scenario, with the changing market demands. You also need to evolve, and then this is how you will sustain in the market. And then also comes the very important one, is the secret question. What is unique about my product? What is unique about my product? Now, you see that, like for example, people who are doing, making, tea. Like for example, he's a budding entrepreneur who's into the tea business. Now, you may say that, oh, Mariran has told me that my product needs to be unique. So okay, he's doing tea, and I also manufacture tea, but I'll do extra effort, and then I'll incorporate salt in it. So it does not mean that is not a unique product. Okay, so finding your own unique product, that's also very important, because there are many players in the market. There are many players. You are not the only one who say in the sector, but rather you have to understand your needs, understand your willpower, and have a unique product.